Hello Malaysia, hello world. Apa khabar? Come rain, come shine, lockdown or no lockdown, we at ECM Talk are here for you. Today's topic, MCO Raya. Who's to blame? I'm Rajesh Shahrul, your host. For this year, yet again, Malaysians celebrating Hari Raya were muted as Malaysia continues to grapple with the pandemic. No festive vibes again this year. The Rakyat was saddened and devastated with having to go through this situation for the second time around. The balik kampung plan to be with loved ones, eating the sumptuous spread of Raya food sprawling on the table, dressing up in new Raya outfits was just a dream turned into reality. Who is to be blamed? Let us hear more from my guest speaker today, Dr. Azriman Rosman, CEO of MAA Medicare Charitable Foundation here in Kuala Lumpur. Welcome to ECM Talk, Doc. It's good to have you back on our program since we last saw you sometime last year. Apa khabar, Doc?
Good morning, Rajesh Shahrul, and to all ECM listeners. It's a good opportunity for me to be here.
Thank you,
Remind
Doc.
you all, firstly, about the MCO and our safety precautions.
Thank you, Doc. Now, relating to the topic that we are discussing today, Doc, ignoring SOPs and causing the rising numbers of current daily cases, do you think Malaysians have started to let their guard down?
You know, Shahrul, you mentioned about Raya, and let's just look at the figures, our achievements since Raya, yeah? We had Raya on the 13th and 14th of this month.
Correct.
And as you know, our DG of Health has mentioned to us, and as health professionals have mentioned to us, it takes about 2 weeks to have the incubation period for coronavirus infection to show symptoms. So if you add 2 weeks to 13, 14, after second day Raya, that would be on the 28th
Right.
of this month.
Right.
We had 9,000 cases, the highest. And that's exactly 2 weeks after the Raya period. So it is obvious that this high number of cases are because of gatherings or social interactions and increased transmission during the Raya period. So it is quite clear, you know, the figures show that it is in fact a case of letting our guard down, as you have mentioned, and that has caused in the number of cases.
Okay, all right. Now, Doc, who should take responsibility with this?
You know, we always hear in the news, sometimes on social media, Instagram, TikTok, you know, there are people blaming the government, blaming unclear SOPs, blaming policies that keep changing. In my opinion, the message is clear. You have to exercise precaution, reduce the risk, and maintain social distancing, and go out only when it's necessary. So obviously, there's only a limited amount of instructions that the Prime Minister, the government can give, the Health Director General can give, and there's only a certain amount of enforcement that can be carried out. The real responsibility would be the people themselves. You know, the public has to be aware of what measures need to be taken to curb this. You know, that includes, you know, you've heard the same messages again and again. Social distancing, wearing your mask, get checked early if you're ill, if you stay away from work if you have flu or fever, do frequent tests if you think you are at high risk. report cases that are at risk. So all those measures and instructions, there are plenty, on social media and advice. But at the end of the day, if we still break the law and do not follow SOPs, then you really can't blame anyone, and we have to be responsible because it's a multi-stakeholder and everyone has to play a part.
Right. Okay, my next thing here I want to ask you, Doc, is the MCO Raya affecting people's mental health?
Of course, I think...
I know I'm going really deep into this. Yeah, yes. I don't want to touch on what you have just said, Doc, because we may need another program for that. Now, coming back to my question to you, Doc. What do you think? The mental health of the people?
Yes. I think everyone was anticipating Raya festivities. We were quite hopeful because cases were beginning to come down, a couple of months before Raya. And we thought that it could be under control and there would be some kind of social interaction allowed. Unfortunately, the cases just didn't come down. And so the fact that Raya was confined, and not only you were confined to your home, you were also prohibited from visiting. I think that was quite stressful to a lot of people,
right.
Who are so used to making preparations and the Raya festivities start even during Ramadan itself when people get together,
right.
buka puasa, make preparations, shopping, cakes, and there's a lot of social interaction there. And so not being able to see anyone and being confined to your room or your immediate family is quite stressful for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Right. Now, how do you think people can cope with this kind of so-called mental stress, Doc? Should they just avoid it, or just letting it go on someone else, or just keep cool and be composed about it?
That's a good point. Firstly, I think when you celebrate Raya, you want to have to be in a mindset where you would honor the day as a celebration or a victory after a month of fasting. So psychologically, you would have taken steps to make sure that on Eid Day, on Hari Raya Day, that you will be in a situation to reward yourself for the sacrifices that you have done since the last 1 month. So I think it depends on a lot on people making their own celebration just among themselves to treat it as a special month. I know you can't go out and you can't celebrate and you can't have the Raya festivities with friends and relatives. Nevertheless, if you have given due respect to the month of Ramadan, perform the sunnah prayers, perform preparations, then Eid Day itself would be a celebration. So psychologically, that would be something to look forward to. Now, having said that, the fact that you can't mingle and visit friends and relatives and loved ones doesn't mean that all is lost. So the idea that you should have to be mentally prepared to be able to celebrate Hari Raya on your own. The key to I think throughout this whole month, not just Hari Raya, in any meeting with any celebrations or birthdays, anniversaries, you have to be mentally prepared to be able to say to yourself that there is a limited amount of socializing that you can do, and you'll have to make do with what's available, and keep in touch with your loved ones either online or through social media.
Right.
So there are a number of steps that you can take actually to be prepared mentally, not just for Hari Raya, but also in celebrating various other social occasions which we can't. The first thing I think what you should do is to be calm and accept the situation as it is. And there's no point getting too stressed out about it. Yeah? And be thankful, because there are a lot of other people who are sick. Some people have to work non-stop. Some have lost their loved ones. Some have their loved ones who are ill. And so if you're healthy and you're just required to stay at home, you should be thankful that that is actually a blessing in disguise. And also be positive that whatever steps that's being done is for your own good and for the good of the country.
Yeah.
Having said that, there are some activities that you can do to kind of curb the boredom at home. Empower yourself, learn new skills, start reading or a hobby that is of interest. And one thing that I've noticed, a lot of people now go on social media, and that can be a double-sided sword. You can get your satisfaction and emotional gratification through social media. At the same time, it is also known to cause depression or unhappiness.
Yeah.
So you must be in a position where you do not compare yourself and you make your own happiness.
Right.
Don't be too affected by what comments that may come on, or what happens when you read things on social media. And so, in other words, don't let others dictate your happiness.
Right. So in other words, Doc, this is really an unavoidable situation. It's a life and death situation. So it's just not about you, it's about every living person on earth, isn't it, Doc? Yeah. So you have to avoid this feeling of selfishness and being very Raya and everything. Yeah, you have just to be cool, calm, and collected about everything, I suppose. Right. Yeah. Which is not easy to some people, but you have highlighted, Doc, about how people get themselves swayed into or believing into all this social media and news in the social media and whatnot. That really put things into not a very good perspective, so to say. Am I right here, Doc?
Right. Some get depressed, just reading the news, or what's worse is if fake news is being transmitted, So you've got to do your part and be responsible. And because, controlling this infection, this epidemic, is not just about you yourself, but you have to play a role in getting the whole community, the whole of Malaysia, to control this infection.
Right. In a way, this whole pandemic also brings out the real you, so to speak, Doc, right? This is where you need to either adjust yourself, improve yourself for the betterment of moving ahead in your life, and also not just for yourself and for the family too, I presume.
Yes, correct, exactly. I think now is a time where you really need to look at yourself and ask yourself what makes you happy. People who are so used to being extroverted and they need others to puji and praise, they will have a hard time because you are more or less confined to yourself, and you will have to find that happiness within yourself. So, do activities that help you, and do not look for, like I said, do not look for gratification in others, because your contact with other people is limited.
Right.
Also, I think it helps to be happy, smile a lot, and be positive, and look at things in good light, and inshallah, we can all pull together and get this infection past us.
Inshallah, yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Rosman, Dr. Azriman Rosman. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you again for
Thank you.
sharing your views and interesting points on this topic. I know there are other things that I want to highlight to you on it, but I will take it separately. Despite we were disheartened by the no frills of Raya yet again this year, we are quite optimistic that the national COVID-19 vaccination program will eventually result in herd immunity and successfully curb the spread of infections. And not forgetting adhering to the strict SOP practices. The Rakyat are encouraged to take the vaccination and express hope that the government would achieve its target of inoculating at least 80% of the population before year end. Let us all hope and pray that next year there will be no more MCO and no more state of emergency. We will have a chance to balik kampung for Raya in 2022, inshallah, with God's blessing. ECMians, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Edu Channel Malaysia. Thanks again, Dr. Azriman Rosman, for coming into our program today. Take care and stay safe, everyone. Jumpa lagi.